Welcome to today's episode of the Heaven and Hell podcast. I am delighted as ever to share this episode with you. This one feels like a biggie. Now, I know I say that a lot and I get excited a lot, but this one is about perfection. And context for this. Now, I know Angela and Acelia were there when we had this conversation. There was a conversation on our May playground meetup, and there's a lady I'd never met before called Debbie who was invited by Carolyn, and she just made a random statement, which I did nothing with at the time, and suggested that I might like to explore the idea of perfect and perfection in the Bible with Holy Spirit. I said, okay, so I wrote it down. And then when I came to start my June notebook, I transferred the things from May that I hadn't got to yet. And then yesterday, as I was recording a podcast episode as a guest on somebody else's podcast, it came up again. I was like, oh yeah, I need to explore that nudge. You know, when somebody says it once and then it comes up again, and that nudge. And this morning then I sat and did start to look at this. Now, for anybody who's catching up on replay who is a member of our local church, which does include Philippa, although you won't be there on Sunday, or anybody who listens to to our church podcast, we're going to be exploring this unless I get nudged in a different direction before then. But on Sunday, we're going to be exploring this in more detail because this feels really exciting and kind of important. So you're going to get the short, sort of less than 10-minute version today within the challenges or the constraints of these short episodes. What I will say though is if it does go as I anticipate and we do explore this in more detail on Sunday, I will make sure when the podcast episode is available, I'll link to it. But anyway, the gift. I want to give you a gift today, the gift of releasing you from the idea of needing to be perfect. Now in Matthew 7, Jesus says, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. And we can read that and we can get ourselves in a bit of a pickle. I am here today, if you're somebody who's been struggling and thinking, I need to be perfect because Jesus says I must be perfect, like God the Father is perfect. I'm here today to release you from that. You do not need to be perfect in the way that we, with our English language, have come to understand the word perfect. For reasons I'm going to explain in about 5 minutes or less, and we'll go into more detail on Sunday. Because I took a look at the word perfect in the Greek, and I have a big book down here. It's a very, very big book. Let me show you. It's the big book. It's a concordance. And so for those of you who've never played with a concordance before, they're great, because what you do is you look up the word perfect and it will list out all of the times in the Old Testament and the New Testament, perfect, perfection, kind of root of the same word, where those words are used. It then takes you back to the original Greek and shows you the nuances of those words. Now, I noticed two very interesting things. When you look at the word perfect in the Old Testament, every time it's mentioned in the Old Testament, it is that essence of perfect that we think of, as in like without fault, completely blameless, completely within context of God, completely holy, amazing, brilliant, nothing wrong, flawless. That is what the word perfect in the Old Testament means. And every time it's used in the Old Testament, it's used in relation to God. And like I said, we'll go into details on Sunday, but lots and lots of examples of God as being perfect. However, when you look at the Greek use of the word perfect in the New Testament, the perfect that we're called to be, it's a different context or different nuance. There's different words there. It doesn't mean blameless and completely flawless. It talks about goals. It talks about maturity. It talks about growing. It talks about, in essence, you being who God made you to be. And yes, I'm putting some words in there because we haven't got much time. And so it's interesting when it says in Matthew 7, be perfect like your Father in heaven is perfect. What it's actually saying is step into the fullness, the completeness of who I made you to be, just like God the Father steps into the completeness of who he was made to be. Instead, we read that and go, okay, be an orange because God's an orange. You're not called to be an orange. Instead, it's be an apple with all the crisp and juicy and flavours of being an apple, because that's who you're called to be. Just like God, your Father, is an orange with all the nuances and the juiciness of what that is. And I guess that's a metaphor. I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying that you're actually an apple and that God's actually an orange, but we fall into this mistaken idea that because God is perfect and blameless and amazing and complete and brilliant, that when Jesus says that we should be perfect, that's what we're meant to be. So my gift to you today on my birthday is that reminder. This might not be new to you, so if you've heard this before, take it as a reminder. But if you've never come across this before, then take it as a new piece to ponder on and ask Holy Spirit, what to work through it with you. Because for some people it'll be like, that doesn't make any sense at all, that's so new. But Holy Spirit is your teacher, your counselor, your guide, your comforter. You can work through these things with him. It's that Youier piece that we've explored before. I remember, actually, it was 6 weeks ago tomorrow where God gave me that acronym for Youier. Youier is you in intentional, expectant relationship. That's how you be perfect. That's how you be everything that you were called to be. That's how you step into the maturity of all of that you are called to be and what that looks like. And that will be different for different people. I be me, you be you. Like I cannot be my sister. She can't be me. Yes, we have some things in common. We both like to talk, and we both talk quite fast. And we both have really great sense of humours, and we're both wonderful, I'm just going to say. But we also have differences as well. Like she loves, I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, she loves, is brilliant at keeping the house really neat and clean. She's just, and loves it, is amazing at it. I am not so much. Now, if I was to say, okay, if we thought that we all had to be perfect and the same, and our definition of perfect was a nice, clean, tidy house with everything in its place, and then I would be wrong and falling down from that a lot of the time. And it would be very easy to slip into this, because that's what I was doing in my 20s. Some of you have heard the story before. I was trying to fit into this ideal of who I thought I needed to be in order to be loved and accepted. I wasn't being me. And when we go down the route of defining perfect in Matthew 7 as faultless, without blame, and just the pinnacle of everything, that can set us up to fail and can trip a lot of people up. And so don't let it trip you up, because yes, you are called to be holy, and you're called to ideally not sin, and you are called to perfection. But that word perfect and perfection is not what we think it means within the context of the English language. We put perfect up on a pinnacle. And yes, God is perfect and blameless and without fault. And he is being who he is, and we can grow and we can mature. But the idea of you being perfect is you growing and maturing and stepping into the fullness of who you're made to be, God helping you. And that's the intentional, expected relationship piece. And so when I saw that, because it's interesting, when I was looking through this with Holy Spirit this morning, I started out by just looking at the New Testament pieces. And then I got this nudge, look at the Old Testament words too. And the contrast between those two words is like amazing. Like literally every single example of perfect and perfection in the Old Testament is God. It's everything that we think that word perfect is when we talk about it in English. And in the New Testament, when we're called to be perfect, we're taught to grow and mature and to step into the fullness of who God made us to be, which I think is really exciting. And let's be honest and transparent, quite freeing. Because yes, I want to be loving and kind, and God helping me on a good day, or moments in a good day, I am. But none of us can be perfect with the English definition of perfect all the time. We all have times where we're a bit grumpy, or where we speak a bit sharply towards somebody, or we don't react with kindness, or we can feel little bit of resentment or bitterness. Ideally, as we walk towards that maturity and that completeness and growing into who God made us to be, that perfect piece, those niggly bits of us become less often. But it's a journey, and it, we're not this side of what comes next. We're not going to reach God's version of the Old Testament definition of perfection. Instead, it's a journey towards being who God made you to be, him helping you. So I hope, like I say, I was really excited when I discovered that, and I have a big thank you to Debbie, the lady who actually nudged me first to explore that. And so I offer that to you as a gift on my birthday, and I hope it is of an encouragement to you. I would say as well, if there's anybody who you know struggles with this idea of perfection, share this episode with them. Hopefully it will be freeing and encouraging to them. And in the meantime, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you. And I look forward to catching up with you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.